You have probably wondered in a grid down situation where people are starving and people are desperate, but you have probably imagined what you will do when people come knocking at your door for food, and you have probably imagined that you will turn them away either nicely or even at gunpoint. But you are probably getting this mindset completely wrong, and today I'm going to share 2 options that I will be employing if this situation ever happens. It has just a little grassy and a little bit of a citrus flavor to it. A lot of vitamin C in that wood sorrel tea. That rhymed. But first, for new viewers, welcome to my channel and also my bugout location. This channel is all about prepping and self-defense, so please consider subscribing to this channel and smacking that thumbs up button if you like information like this that the lamestream media typically doesn't talk about. So a very common discussion that I hear amongst preppers is, what are you going to do, or what will they do in a grid down situation where people are starving and people come knocking at their door asking and begging for food? And a common answer that I hear over and over again is that, hey, I would tell them to leave, and then if they refuse to leave, then I would make them leave at gunpoint, and then if they still refuse to leave at that point, I would probably shoot them. So I want to know really quick, I want to hear from you, what do you plan to do if you run into a situation like this where people are knocking at your door begging for food and they are just refusing to leave your front door until you give them something to eat? Again, comment down below truthfully what you will do. So my first concern with the preppers that have that mindset of I'm going to turn them away at gunpoint and maybe even shoot them, my first concern is that more than likely the person that's going to be knocking at your door is probably going to be somebody that's close to you or a loved one, but chances are it's going to be somebody that's close to you that's going to know that you have those things to begin with. And if it's somebody that's close to you, especially if they're a family member that has a young child and they're showing that young child that's starving too, chances are you're not going to have the heart or the coldness in your heart, hopefully not, to actually point a gun at somebody that you love, and especially if they have a young child with them. Because believe me, if somebody's going to come to your door out of desperation, knocking on your door, begging for food because they're starving to death, people are going to take actions that's going to make it more likely that you're going to give them food, give them something to eat. So yes, relatives will show up with young children. And if they don't have a young child, then they're going to be showing up crying and begging and throwing themselves at your feet. I just don't think that the type of people that's going to be knocking on your door begging for food are going to be the kind of people that you want to point a gun at to begin with. And they also probably won't be doing actions that would make it justified for you to point a gun at them or to even shoot them. I just don't think that most preppers that say they will turn people away at gunpoint will actually be cold-hearted enough to do it, because it's going to be people that they care about, and it's because these people are going to be crying and begging and not presenting a deadly threat at that time. So now let's say that the person actually leaves when you either politely ask them to leave, or once you do produce a firearm and tell them to leave at gunpoint. Let's say that that person does actually leave at that point. Well, then of course you run the risk of that person coming back a second time at a later time, again, because they're going to be desperate with starvation. Our problem is that when they come back the second time, they're probably not going to knock because now they're acting out of desperation. The next time they come back, there's a high likelihood it's an ambush, again, because they're going to be acting out of desperation at this point. So the remedy for this here is that you don't want people to know that you have food and supplies to begin with. Really, just to put it simply, if the people don't know that you have food and supplies to begin with, they won't knock at your door to begin with. Now, it's at this point that some preppers will say, well, that's just why you just shoot them to begin with, because then you don't have to worry about them coming back a second time. And again, this is a situation where I don't think that people think beyond the next step. Once you shoot that person, what are you going to do next? How are you going to dispose of that body? If you don't dispose of that body, that will start to decompose and that will bring disease. Also, every time that you shoot somebody, they will have friends and loved ones that will anger them. So every time you shoot somebody, you're going to be creating more anger. And you can pretty much guarantee that when that person is going to come to your house knocking on your door, other people are going to know that they were coming over. So when you shoot somebody, are you really thinking beyond the next step? What will happen? What will you be forced to do once you do actually pull that trigger and actually shoot somebody that's only begging for food? So again, I think a lot of people talk a big game. Well, I'll just, ask them to leave. If they don't leave, then I'll force them to leave at gunpoint. And then if they still don't leave, then I'll shoot them. I think that a lot of people talk a big game about doing stuff like that, but I think when it comes down to it, that they're just not going to be cold enough to do such an evil thing to actually shoot somebody that's only begging for food and not attacking them. Plus also people that say things like that, I just don't think they're thinking beyond the next step. What's going to happen next? What will they be forced to do? How will they have to deal with their own consequences for what they did? And by the way, I am thinking about using a photo from The Walking Dead for the thumbnail photo for this video. So if you think it is racist and you're pounding away at your keyboard telling me how I'm racist because it's a photo of a black female through a rifle scope, hey, just get over yourself. I just purely think it's a really cool photo that really grabs the attention. So if you just gotta learn, if you're offended by that and you think it's racist, you just gotta learn how not to be so darn triggered in your life. So again, this is where remedy number one comes into play. If people don't know to begin with that you have food and supplies put back, then they won't come knocking at your door to begin with, begging for food, nor do you have to worry about them coming back a second time, which could be potentially then a deadly force situation. And if you have made it this far into this video, it's time for me to pay the bills. I wrote a physical book that teaches you how you can make your own prepper medicine in a grid down situation. To use this book, you simply go to the table of contents and find the ailment that you want to make your own medicine for. And in this case, we're going to use type 2 diabetes as an example. And we can see here that the remedies start on page 125. So now we're just going to simply flip over to page 125, which tells us what plants to use and step-by-step directions on how to make your own prepper medicine. And I will put a link to the book that I wrote down below. If that's something that you're interested in, then buy it. If it's something that you're not interested in, then ignore it. And also, if you are watching this video on YouTube, you should come over to Rumble to watch your favorite videos, because Rumble does not have the woke agenda that YouTube does. Just go to rumble.com and type ethical preparedness in the search bar to find my channel there. Now the second way, the second remedy that I will employ to deal with potential people coming to my door, knocking and asking for food, is just simply not to be found at my house to begin with when they come knocking. If things have actually gotten that bad, where there's no rule of law and people are actually getting to the point that they're starving and getting desperate, I'm not going to be at my house to begin with. Anybody coming to my house looking to score supplies is just going to find a vacant home. If things get that desperate, I will be here at my bugout location, where I am surrounded by other like-minded people who have skills and that also already have their own food and supplies already put back. And in a grid down situation, a simple scratch can lead to your death. Or you might go into that grid down situation where you have high blood pressure or some other chronic condition. So to see a whole bunch of videos where I show you step by step how you can make your own prepper medicine, then click on the video that should be appearing on the screen just about now to learn what most other preppers don't know. All right, folks, this is enough internet for me today. I do need to get to work, but folks, if you made it this far, hey, thank you very much for watching, and I pray that you have a good night.